about how to get paid to sell your coaching program or your online course. Whether you have a program already and you're wanting to refresh it, or you're brand new, haven't made your first offer, we're going to talk exactly about the 1, 2, and 3 steps for how to get paid to create your online offer. So if you're excited about that, leave a like, leave a comment here so I know everything is working, and let's go ahead and hop into it. There's this quote that's kind of infamously used for some reason still in the coaching space. I think it's from a movie called Angels in the Outfield. Could be it's a baseball movie, and the quote is, "If you build it, they will come." Who's heard that? Who's heard the quote? And when it comes to building an online coaching business or to launching online courses, it really doesn't translate well. In fact, it's a lie. And I still see coaches and gurus shouting from the mountaintops that works. And it's unfortunate. And why this topic is so important to me is because why it really should be important to you is because I've been doing this for about 10 years now in this online coaching and online course space. Before high ticket was the popular thing. And I've seen so many people come and go. I've had so many friends that have had an idea for an online course. They put all of this work into it and no one ends up buying it, or worse, a couple people buy it. They do all of this hard work, get paid a very little amount, and they have to go back to the day job. You have to go ask mom and dad for money. You have to, you start thinking all of these thoughts that end up leading to you not succeeding or continuing on in your online business. And if there's one thing that hurts more than anything else, it's seeing other coaches and course creators and new people in the space. Sometimes people have been doing it for a while, fall back to the "if you build it, they will come" mindset, and they launch to crickets. No money ends up coming in. And so I want to help you to avoid that here today. A couple mistakes that we want to just kind of make sure that we really understand for why this is important and why this is going to shave so much time off of your journey. And truthfully, guys, I talk with at least 5 to 10 people every single week in DMs on Instagram, on Facebook, or from my email list over in my Facebook group where you might be watching this. If you're not in there and want some resources, comment group. I'd love to send you a personal invite over. And I hear this still to this day. And so a couple of things that end up happening. Number one is you pour your soul into an online program, into making your first course, creating your first program. You go to launch, so you go to post it on social media, you post it on Facebook, maybe you have an email list, you send it out over there, and you just get crickets. No one responds, no one buys it. And so a couple thoughts start to go through your head. Number one, you start to think that this whole online thing just isn't possible. Second thing is you start to think it only works if you're a big influencer with a big list. And so you start to run ads, you start to look at boosting posts, you start to look at all these things, and there's a sense of desperation that will end up kind of fostering inside you. And let me know if this has ever happened to you. And I only know this from doing this so many times myself and failing, finding one way that works, and nowadays helping people to overcome these things. And I hear from, like I said, I hear from a handful of people every single week who have fallen into this trap. What ends up happening at that point, after you've tapped out posting on social, sending out to your list and looking at running ads, maybe even running some ads, is you start to get a little desperate. So you start cold DMing people. Maybe some people hop on the phone with you. You get a little pushy. You go to resort to selling your friends and family. You burn some relationships. There's nothing worse than that feeling. No one wants to be there. No one wants to be weird or pushy, as common as a thing as it is. And so that's kind of big mistake number one. And the second thing that's really kind of the most frustrating when it comes to launching an online program or an online course is that you end up making the wrong thing because you don't know if it's the right thing. You didn't validate it. You didn't go out there and find people who are genuinely interested in it and who put their money on the line. And so you waste a bunch of time. You end up making no money, or worse, only 1 or 2 people buy it, and now you're on the hook probably at a lower amount because you priced it low. You said, oh, this is going to be, I can't price this too high because you didn't have the confidence in it. You hadn't sold a bunch of it, and so you price it as a low ticket offer. And that's not really attractive to anybody except for people who are bargain hunters and kind of penny pinchers. Those customers are really hard to deal with, and they have the highest expectations. And you probably sold it as you're going to have a ton of students in, and it's going to be this big, bustling Facebook group. In reality, it's just 1 or 2 people. And so you have some explaining to do, as they say in I Love Lucy. So you end up with no money, no customers in, or only just a few. And that can be extremely frustrating. And there's nothing that takes people out of this industry faster than those mistakes and not following today's advice. So what are the solutions and what are we going to cover here today? In a second, we're going to go to the drawing board, as we always do. But let's talk about what the solutions are. The first thing that we need to do to overcome all of this here together is that we have to get into your ideal prospect's mind and we have to figure out what it is that they want. There's nothing new under the sun, guys. The last thing you want to do is try to create something that is hard to market, that no one really understands, these big complex ideas and processes. And so what we want to do instead of going out and launching it into the world is we want to validate your idea, and we want to get some people to show some interest by raising their hand and saying, I would like that, having a conversation with them, enrolling them, and of course charging for your first couple clients. That's kind of solution number one. The second solution is, instead of pouring your heart and soul into all these videos and program that you don't know if it's actually going to work, maybe it worked for you, but maybe you haven't taught it yet, you haven't packaged it in this way. Instead of doing all that and editing videos and graphics and doing all of these things, creating all the worksheets and then launching out into the world, we want to teach it live. We want to teach it week by week, and all you have to do is stay kind of a chapter ahead in making the content, and as your students show up, you deliver it live, and then you can make it better as time goes on. The third thing, this is a little bit of an extra thing, is that you need to also understand the scope of work. I think people really underestimate how much time and energy goes into making a good program, into making a good coaching program or online product and course. And so if you can just wrap your head around those three things, validation, teaching it live, and understanding the scope of work and not overextending yourself, then I think that your next coaching program, your next online course launch is going to be a hit. So if you're ready for that, comment ready, and let's go ahead and hop into it, and let's go to the drawing board now. Okay. This is a concept that we're, of course, pulling directly from the Get Clients program. And there's two kind of scales that we need to understand in order to bring this to life. So on one side, we have launch. And on the other, we have create. Those are kind of the two phases that we're going to be in. And the second is about the time that it's going to take. So down here at the bottom, we're going to have now. And then let's use 90 days just for this to keep it super simple as our time frame and as our window. And what we want, most people want a course launch, they want to come out with a big bang. Right? Who wants a lot of people to be joining the program and giving them a bunch of money and creating a bunch of success stories? I know I do. But you can't start there when you're just getting going. In fact, if your email list is under 1,000, then it's really hard to, or your Facebook group is under 1,000 people, it really just isn't possible. So what we want is a nice linear progression that looks just like that. And this is how you don't overextend yourself. This is how you get dollars in, and this is how you get paid to launch your online course and program. By the way, if you're wanting help with any of this or screenshots or any of the models and frameworks, worksheets that we're talking about here today, I have room for a couple more coaches coming up this next month, and I would love to help you get to 7 to 12K in revenue, get a couple clients in quickly, and then join you into our accelerator program and help you make that month over month. So if that's you and you're an online coach who either has a course or program already or is ready to make one and to get paid right out the gate to use this concept to get paid to build it, then comment the word paid, and let's have a chat to see if I can help you in kind of your situation and to see if it's a fit and get you on this fast track. So a couple things that we got to do. Number one is we're looking at 90 days. Let's shrink this down and talk about these first 14 days first. So we're going to call this, and it may not be to scale, but we're going to call this a first 14 days. And there's a couple things that we need to get right inside of here to really knock this out of the park. So let's talk about what those things are. Thing number one is that we don't need to create a huge product or program right out the gate. You're probably picturing Kajabi and Teachable and all of these things. No, what we really need is a MVP, which is a minimum viable product or program, okay? And so what this really is, more than anything else, is an outline. We need an idea for how we're gonna lay it out, what needs to go inside of it to make a 1.0 This usually should take you no more than an evening. Pour yourself a nice beverage, maybe a coffee, something like that, and just make an outline with all the things that need to go into 1.0. The second thing that we got to do is that we got to price it. There is a money component here, and I do not want for you to launch a program and to not collect any dollars for it, because you end up attracting people who don't implement it, who don't value it, and so people have to have some skin in the game. And there's two kind of prices that we're going to be looking at. Price number one is your initial. Totally acceptable to price it a little bit more affordably. This needs to be $1,500 or more, period. So that's the initial price. The second is going to be the future price, and kind of like maybe where you want for it to end after you do your first go, or maybe in the next 6 months. You can choose either of those time frames, and that will get you started and going. Starting at $1,500, I want to see you end up around $3,000 to $6,000. If you're going to launch around the $3,000 mark, I'd like to see you inch closer to the $9,000 to $12,000 a month mark. The next thing that we need to do is generate interest. And what this is about doing, and we kind of mentioned it, alluded to it earlier, is this is about validation. This is where you share your idea with your ideal prospects and you see if this is a fit. Is this making sense here so far? Who has done this, or who has done the opposite and built the course and was praying that the people would come? I've been there. I'm happy to admit it. If you've been there or you want to kind of overcome that, then this is the thing for you. So that's the first 14 days. That's what it's all about. Creating a minimum viable program. It's an outline, setting the right price, an initial, and then knowing the future price, kind of where you want to end up. And then we need to go out and generate interest. Now let's talk about the next time frame, this one down here. And this is from, the 15th day up to the 90th day. And let's talk about what we need to do in order to get this part right. What we need to do, and let's just call this step 4, is we need to enroll. We need to set the right expectations for our first students. Hey, this is brand new. We need to be honest. You're going to be one of the first students. You're going to get a special price at it, and you're going to actually be someone who has an impact on what ends up happening in this program to help me make it better, and letting them know how to get all the goods, where everything is going to be. Step number 5 is to teach live. Instead of creating videos and needing for them to look good and for you to do all these takes and do all those things, we're just going to roll this out as we go, week by week. Lastly, is we're going to make it better as time goes on. This is the holy grail for what many of you are going after when you think of Evergreen. And really, it's a program that you can continuously roll people in. So let's zoom out and look at kind of where we gotten together. Instead of launching your online course, putting all the work into it, outlining it, pouring your heart and soul into it, and sharing it with the world, and potentially hearing crickets, which most of you will do if you have under 1,000 people on your email list or in a Facebook group, we need to do something different instead. We need to sell it first, and this is the format. Step number 1 is we create a minimum viable program, which is really just an outline. Then we got to price it right for our first couple clients, $1,500 or more, and then we need a future price for what happens after that. And then we need to generate interest. That way we don't set off to make something that no one wants. And this is going to help us to validate what it is that we're making and making sure that it's the right thing. Is this making sense so far, team? Would love to see in the comments that this is making sense. Next, we got to enroll our first students in. And we can continuously do this as we're teaching it live, which is step 5. So you can continue to bring people in, generating some money. And then lastly is to make it better, and you can do this over time. You don't need to make it perfect. So my perfectionist, this should be a huge weight off of your shoulder, because now you're going to generate money. You're going to make something smart because you know that people want it, and that's going to allow for you to just be confident when you're out there in the marketplace, and you're not going to end up making something that no one wants. And what ends up happening is that you end up on this trajectory right here, where you've generated money, you've generated successful students and success stories, and now you're off to make a program that you can continuously enroll people in. You never have to reset, make new programs, new courses. You make that one thing that just hits it out of the park, that you absolutely love, that your clients love and are getting results with, and that you can sell time and time again. So if you're an online course creator or an online coach and you're ready to get paid to build your program, then I want you to comment the word paid, and let's just have a chat to see if I can help you to do that, because I'd love to get you just the frameworks, the worksheets, the step-by-step, and I'd love to have you surrounded with my 30 plus coaches who are implementing this right now day in and day out, and who are out there getting clients without having to set up the business, the logos, the all of those things. And instead, you set up a smart business where you get paid to build your program, where you get successful students in, and now you're generating money month after month. So if that's you, comment the word paid, and I would love to get you these frameworks, all these mindsets and models. That way we can get you cooking over the next 14 days and generate you some nice revenue over the next 90. Comment paid if that sounds like something you're interested in hearing more about, and let's just have a chat to see if it's a fit. All right, team, that's it for me. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.